Hello, hello.
All right, there we go.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Collective. Zahn is hosting this episode, but I'm
um,
your co host, Tier.
yes, this is a little different today. And what we're going to talk about today is the importance of small groups.
Yes, or
Um,
discipleship groups or life groups.
okay, but before we do that, you want to talk about the current events?
Oh, you gonna put it on me?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right, all right. Well, hello, everyone. We're on Instagram once again, doing our episode. It's been a while. How you been?
I'm good. Good. Blessed, highly favored. Been doing a lot of praying. So,
Yeah, ain't
how
nothing
about
wrong
you?
with that. Same here. Just focusing on business and
A one-man marketing team.
yeah, and that's a lot of work. But maybe one day I can get some helpers. But for the meantime, it's just me. But um, yeah, just staying focused and just living, working,
Same here.
doing this thing called life.
So I do have. Okay, so what's your thoughts on this whole gas shortage?
So, first question:
Hmm.
has the gas been replenished
It's always been that way. So the
in the
whole
state of Georgia?
yeah, I got gas today.
Okay, awesome.
So so the crazy thing is, I guess apparently somebody had hacked into this major gas company's system and pretty much held it hostage. First thing that comes to mind is, why does everybody choose the dumbest things to take for hostage? Like, if people got student loans, people you can do so much good with whatever capability you have, but you choose
Mm-hmm.
gas. So, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, that happened, and apparently news broke out, and people were saying, go get gas. And you got all these crazy people putting gas in containers when, if you really think about it, if there was a major gas shortage, the that would really affect the economy. So I know the U.S. government is really not going to allow that to happen. And
Mm-hmm.
yet you still got people, trying to fill up on gas. And really, honestly, at this point, just buying gas at a higher price, just because I think even for me, I think it was only maybe one day that I wasn't able to get gas. But other than that, it's like I've still been getting gas like normal.
Well, I think it's ridiculous, first of all. And I had to open up a whole Costco account just so I could get some gas. Like in the most expensive Costco account membership at that. So, but I mean, I needed it anyways for business. So, but I
When
think
you
it's
buy it, you buy
ridiculous.
Costco gas is a whole lot cheaper, isn't it?
Probably, I don't know.
Because I
I
got
haven't been
a
paying attention.
one of my friends. That's all of what she gets gas from is Costco all the time,
Yeah.
and I know she pays maybe like, it seems like 20-30 cents cheaper.
Well, that's good. I didn't
Yeah.
even look. I just know I needed gas that day, so I was just like, let me go ahead and get this membership
Hmm.
and just keep this thing moving. But yeah, so but I think it's ridiculous. And I just really think it's selfish of people like to just buy up everything just
Hmm.
because it like they just get into this scarcity mindset. And then not only that, they get into this like whole, like I gotta have me and my family, we gotta have it all. You know what I mean? Like first of all, the toilet tissue thing, like that's just ridiculous. And it'd be like the stupidest stuff,
Yeah.
like they didn't go buy toothpaste. You know what I mean? Like they just took the whole toilet tissue thing, like and I'm talking about like
Hmm.
COVID, pre-COVID, around COVID time. And this time it's like, okay, we're gonna fill up bags of we're gonna get plastic bags and fill them up with gas. So, yeah, I just wonder like who like starts these like thoughts, and it's like everybody has like the same thought to do the same thing, and it's just like, yo, like what are y'all smoking?
Like, one thing is, you put gas in plastic bags. How you gonna get it into your car?
And isn't that gonna make your whole car like
Yeah.
fumigated?
The crazy
Like,
thing is, I've already seen a story where someone's car blew up.
mhm.
just because of that. Like it's silly.
And it's like I don't want to say they deserved it, but at the same time, it's like, yo, like, come on now. Like, use common sense. Like, let's use some wisdom. And then not only that, but let's just be conscious that there's other people out there that need gas. So
Exactly.
let's not try to take all the whole gas station like with us. You know what I mean? So yeah, I thought that was crazy.
Because even for me, if I run the gas, that just means I ain't going to work. I'll be
Yeah.
calling out that day.
Yeah. I felt like I had to go to work. So I was like, let me go see what I can do. So I had to call my dad. I was
Hmm.
like, Dad, don't you have a Costco membership? And he was like, I think you need a card for that. And so I was like, okay, I'll just get a membership. So that's how that went. But yeah, hot topic. So what's going on? Like,
What do you really want to talk about?
what do I
Is it,
really want to talk
yeah,
about?
about current events or hot topics?
To be honest with you, ain't nothing going on to me. But okay, so like they had the whole no mask
Oh yeah.
situation.
Hmm.
I still feel like everybody should wear their mask for the time being because like we don't really know what's going on. Nobody knows, so I just feel like people should still wear their masks.
Yeah, I mean, because as soon as I kind of received like that same news too, I was really just looking like, well, what about the people who've never really worn their mask? Like, do we consider them vaccinated now just because they don't have a mask on? Nah,
Yeah, that's not how
yeah,
I like if I see somebody out, like I'm not going to be thinking like because they don't have a mask on that they're vaccinated. I'm just
yeah,
going to think that they're rebellious.
exactly,
And I'm just gonna be like, oh, look at this person. You know what I
exactly.
mean? But now I have to like kind of like I have to like change my thoughts to now think, okay, well maybe they're fully vaccinated and they just feel like they can wear a mask. But to me, still, like I feel like people should still be wearing masks. But that's just me. So.
Oh, I'm still gonna be wearing mine just because even if you're vaccinated, that doesn't mean that you're like bulletproof from getting COVID or anything like
Mm-hmm.
that. That just means that it's what like less riskier, or you have like I don't know. I've heard of a couple of different things. It's either that it's like it's 95. You're at a like a 95% chance of like less of getting it, or
Mm-hmm.
if you do get it, it's like the symptoms just won't be as bad.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I've heard a whole bunch of different things, but um, yeah, as for me, I'm still wearing my mask. Like no matter what, I don't foresee me taking off the mask like in public places. Honestly, probably at least for like another year.
Yeah.
I just can't take the risk, especially I still been hearing stories about um, people still getting COVID and just getting it in like the worst possible ways. So nah, I'm good on that.
Yeah. So just want to say hello to our viewers. We got Miss
Hello,
Mary.
everyone.
How you doing? It's been so long since I've seen her. Goodness gracious, I miss you, girl. Yes, and we got Miss We Busy. How you doing? Yeah. Okay, so next topic. All right. So I guess in going on with this conversation about why a discipleship group is important or a life group, um, I just really feel like it's important because a lot of people have been in the house and church attendance hasn't really been like what it was, and that's myself included. Like I can't even front, like I haven't been to church in a minute, but I do host a discipleship group, and we still have our meetings or whatever online, and I just feel like it really kind of like we are the church, so
Hmm.
it's kind of like helps us to still have that community feel and that church feel and that Christ-centered focus. um and so yeah, I guess we can just go ahead and get right into the topic, like of why they're important.
Yeah, well, I mean, well, I'll say that the first thing is when you're dealing like, especially like with Christianity, um, a lot of people consider it to be like a religion, but it's really just more of a relationship with principles. And one of those principles would be to fellowship. Like that's it. There's like no set rules about how you should really fellowship. So that means it could be in person, It could be online, just however you can, just make sure that you are able to fellowship. And especially since like really over the last year, um, and even some churches still today, they are like closed just because of COVID and everything like that.
Right.
It's a safety hazard for people to actually be together, just because of course there's a virus, we don't know who has it, who doesn't have it, the severity of it, all the above. So it really puts more of an emphasis on small groups. And if you really think about it, just in biblical terms, before there even was a church, there were small groups. You think about, Jesus and his disciples; they were
Right.
a small group.
They were the discipleship group.
Yeah.
Literally, nothing but disciples in Jesus. But, like when I think about discipleship groups now, like I just think about, I don't know, like I guess the title can kind of throw people off because they're thinking, oh, this is like, like a meeting, like a church meeting, but it's really
Hmm.
not. Like to me, I feel like it's like me and my friends like getting together, to talk about like our spirituality and like our lives, you know what I mean? Like what we're going through and like how we're getting through life, you know what I mean? And it's like when you go through things and you have like those like big things that happen to you in life, like it's good knowing that you can have people there and you may have not known them very long, but at least they have their own life experiences and they can like kind of help you get through.
Hmm.
So like I feel like, even though we can't really physically be in the church, like to me I feel like discipleship groups are like a more intimate type of church.
Supposed to be, and that's really like the whole goal of really of small groups or discipleship groups, whatever you want to call it, is to really have that intimate and safe space. But I feel like just now, just as people, we're so accustomed to dealing with things on our own that sometimes we don't know how to kind of share that like with other people. So it's like I know one of the aspects is really just to be vulnerable, like with other people.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you think about even like with Jesus, how he
Hey, hey, my sister just came in, y'all. So
hello.
y'all hear a whole bunch of noise in the background. You know what it is.
But you think about Jesus and how he um, shared his heart like with everyone who, with all his disciples, and kind of vice versa. But now I feel like for me in the groups that I've been in, not everyone has been comfortable like doing that. Like
Yeah,
it's hard to kind of bring up emotions that you've kind of buried.
yeah,
Um, like it could be like tough things, like say for instance, if you were like raped as a child, if you've gone through just different traumatic experiences, like it's not good to kind of hold those things in. So it's like it's almost like a spirituality thing and a physical thing too. Like with our body, we produce so many different things. Like we produce water, we produce waste too. Spiritually, we're supposed to produce fruit, but sometimes we produce waste too of all the different things, or um, I guess like cold heartedness, like sometimes that we can be. So it's like when you get into a small group, you're really supposed to be producing fruit, just being able to kind of share like different things. Or say for instance, if you did go to something like life changing, you should have a friend there or someone um, within your small group who's able to kind of speak to those different things, or somebody who just like if they don't have anything to say, they're just there to listen to you, just because it's just the whole process of you getting those things out.
yeah. And I mean, I don't think that small groups are here to replace like therapists or like
Exactly.
counselors and stuff like that, but there's definitely a counselor in the Holy Spirit. And, like through your fellow brothers and sisters in Christ, that is definitely a help. And, I don't know what verse it is, but in the Bible, it does tell us not to forsake the fellowship of, fellowshipping with our brothers and sisters in Christ. So I do feel like discipleship groups are a great way to fellowship and to just hang out and, just have a good time in the Lord. in the Lord.
um,
So, like, what have been some of your good experiences and your bad experiences being in a small group or discipleship group?
um, okay, I'll start with the bad first. 'Cause that's kind of easy. People just there, just not for the right purposes. Like, we're here to meet, honestly, to be the church. Like, people think that church is a building or church is like a different services, but really church is people.
Yeah,
So we're people, we're really trying to, we're supposed to we're supposed to try to grow as close as Christ as we can be.
hmm,
So when people don't have that focus, or that's not like the mission of everything, or the group, then that's when like it really kind of throws off everything.
yeah,
And you kind of see that, like, even like, say for instance, if you just have like, if you're like part of a certain group of friends, and one friend betrays another, that
hmm.
messes up the whole flow of the whole group.
It really does.
So it's almost like that, and you kind of see that in small groups, just because people just have their own intended purposes.
Right.
Like, they could just be there just to, honestly, could be looking for
A
wife.
relationship.
Yes, hand. That's, to me, that's like the number one thing.
Trying to get booed up. Beady body. Boot up. Yep.
Like that's one thing. I mean, just like ulterior motives, like altogether. I'll say that.
Yeah.
That's the bad. The good would be, honestly, just being able to, I would say, break that ice of vulnerability.
Hmm.
Like when you just kind of take that leap of sharing something that has been like on your heart like for a long time, and then one is out of you, but then it's someone. It could be someone else who could be experiencing the same thing,
Right.
and next thing you know, you two have something in common. Not, of course, a relationship, but just something in common that you can kind of share together, and you can really speak truth to power to that thing.
Yeah.
Or say, for instance, someone else has experienced what you're now going through, and they're able to kind of help guide you, through that whole process.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I've had good and bad like experiences in discipleship groups, mostly good. Like, usually like we'll host a discipleship group at my house. Um, Zion used to be my co-leader, y'all. He ain't my co-leader anymore. But
I'm totally in spirit.
um, yeah, so he was able to witness a little bit firsthand, like some of the negative experiences, because I feel like people, like, if they don't really know you, they kind of pass judgment on you and they kind of think that you are, well, I'm just gonna say me, like some of the people that I've had interactions with, they might think that I'm, this or that, or they may look at, oh, like her house looks like this, and they may make comments or, just kind of be rude. I've had people say like different things, and it's just like you have to remember that you are, being a servant of God, and you always have to keep your, um, you just have to be professional, and you have to be, all the feelings that you might be experiencing inside, you just have to keep it inside and just remember to allow God to be in control of that thing and not allow the enemy to come in there, because the enemy does try to come in there and cause like discord among your group members. So, it's very important to like always remember that. Um, but yeah, I mean the bad is really like minuscule in comparison to the good. I would say like the good things have been Lord. The good things have been, just meeting new people, like hearing other people's experiences, building those connections and growing. I would say our discipleship group has really helped me to grow, as far as like just putting myself out there more and um, being more open to get to know people, because I am a very like I can be closed off a little bit and I can be a little introverted. So it's kind of helped me to break out of my shell in that regard. So
What would you say is like, as a small group leader, like the thing that you're focusing on the most?
The thing that I'm focusing on the most is making sure that everybody is comfortable. Like for me, comfortability is like the number one goal because I don't want people to feel anxious. I don't want people to feel disrespected. I don't want people to feel like they can't relax. Like one of my very first like group meetings that before I started hosting them, like was me going to somebody else's group and at their house, and I just remember not feeling comfortable because the environment just wasn't good. And I said that I didn't want my group to be that way. So comfortability is like number one to me, and just creating an environment where people feel safe. Yeah, that's number one.
Because I was gonna say for me, when I was a leader, for me it was to get people to focus on God. Like I realized that um, we all have different experiences, which means we're looking at life through different lenses. So it's like I understand like when people um, like especially if they're coming to your house, someone else's, how they feel uncomfortable, just because one, I'm not used to this environment like at all.
Right.
But then at the same time, it's like you have your rules for your house that you want people to respect too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm not finna come to your house, put my feet on the table, do a whole bunch of other a whole bunch of other different things.
Yeah.
But then it's like it's important to get people to try to get them to like relax, let them know, hey, you can say how you feel, however you want to, express like what you're feeling. This is a good environment to do so.
Right.
But it's almost like, say for instance, if we all had telescopes and we're all looking, in space, like we're all going to be looking at different things, but if we're all focused, say for instance, like one planet or the moon or something like that, then I consider that, to me, I guess, metaphorically, um, like us all just focusing on one thing. That's all. Like for me, it's like all trying to get people to get people focused on God.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like once we're all, aiming for the same exact thing, then that's when, to me, everything else is just naturally
Yeah,
going to come into
that
place.
comfort just flows.
Yeah.
Like you can just, I think it's a big thing with trust too. Like people don't, if you don't know me and you just coming into my group
Hmm.
and then you don't really know what you can expect, first of all, and then
Hmm.
you don't really know what is, like I said, safe to be able to speak your mind. You know what I mean? I mean, I know what type of person I am. You know what type of person I am, but they don't know us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we've had experiences in these groups for a minute. You know what I mean? So it's like for them, it might be some people who are just starting a group and they've never started a group before, and like
It's new to them.
yeah, it's like that's a lot of pressure.
Because even then, like when you speak about trust, I guess like my mind's kind of changed on it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say trust is earned. I say trust is built.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's one thing like after another. It's like I could have told you something personal, and time has gone by. I realized, that what I said didn't necessarily like lead this proof. I didn't hear from another person.
Right.
So it's like now I have a foundation to kind of build off of. Like now I can say things more freely, more and more and more. I can
Right.
share like all the different things that are very, very near dear to me,
Right.
and
And
I
I
don't
think
have to
that's
worry
in,
about that.
yeah, and I think that's important too because I mean, church gets a bad rep for like people telling your business and well, Miss So and So,
Hmm.
her daughter is going through whatever, but like our small group is not like that at all. Like we don't do that. Like whatever we have like going on in our lives, like we do or we don't put it out there. And if we do put it out there, everybody is here to help and to listen and to, give their advice or whatever. But we don't really do that whole, well, so and so is like this, because that's whack.
Because like the whole thing is, especially like when a offense happens, is like you never know who can get blamed. One, it's not necessarily going to be one particular church. It's going to be the church in general that's going to get blamed.
Mm-hmm.
And then some people take it as far as not only they blame the church, they blame God too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like God had nothing to do with what so and so did.
Yeah.
Like that's just a reflection of their heart and how they choose to do things.
Yeah.
They still haven't had that sanctification process.
Yeah. And that's true. Like, if you messing around with like a group that's very immature or group leaders that are immature, then that's the type of group you're gonna have. So if you can identify that in the beginning, like I would say to those who are thinking about joining a small group, like if you can identify like people that are just being like, catty or like, immature, especially if it's the leader, like I would just say go ahead and find another small
Yeah,
group to
say
be a
that group
part
is not
of
for you.
because that group is definitely not about anything about God's business. So, yeah. And
Because
I'm always about God's business.
even then, like even as a leader, that's kind of hard to try to correct too. Like when someone's gossiping and everything,
Yeah.
it's like you want to you uh, you want to check them, but you want to do that in the most polite way possible.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I feel like even for me, like that's kind of hard to kind of
It's very
navigate
hard.
because
That's
you don't want
very
to
hard.
offend anybody, but you do want to help to correct that behavior. Then
Right. And, you can kind of like try to turn the conversation in a specific direction. But, you will have those people who they don't care. Like they just gonna say what they gotta say. And those are the ones that usually don't stay in the group very long. So, in my experience, those are the ones that usually exit the group. And so, yeah, I just feel like that is just a blessing for everybody.
what would you what would you say have been like the struggles of being in a small group?
It's not a whole lot of struggle. Um, I would say that one of the downsides to it is like people being like, if I live in Paulding County, Georgia. Somebody might live in Atlanta, Georgia. Somebody might live in Stone Mountain, Georgia. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
it is like if they're a part of my group, then they got to drive all the way to my house, which is far from their house. And some people just don't feel like driving. And not only that, but they got to work. So, say if we meet so our group usually meets on Tuesdays. I'm not finna drive from my house after work all the way to Stone Mountain, and then I got to drive all the way back and then work Wednesday morning. Like to me, I can understand why a person wouldn't want to do all of that.
I understand that to a
Thankfully,
degree.
thankfully we are like online,
Hmm.
but back when it wasn't online, like there were some people who was just like, well, I'm not going. So like I had a co-leader, she lived in Atlanta, I lived in Paulding County, and when we would like take turns. So like I would drive out there, we would host a meeting, and then and people would come to that meeting, but then they wouldn't show up to my house. But you had like some people who would come to my house. But I had people telling that co-leader like, oh well, I'm not coming over her house. Like when we have our meeting, I'm not going over there. And I'm like, okay, well that's fine. You ain't got to come over here. It's other people that come over here anyway. So, and it's not being disrespectful. It's just like, okay, if that's how you feel, like if you don't feel like driving, then I get it. You know what I mean?
I get that to a degree because it's like if it's one thing I've learned is Christianity does not always equal convenience. And how
Right.
I was looking at it is, we had our groups. We only met twice a month. So you
Mm-hmm.
mean
Twice a month.
for one like 2 times out of the month,
Right.
2 times out of 30 31 days a month,
Yeah, it's not every week. It's just
you
twice a
can't
month.
make that one sacrifice.
Yeah.
So I mean that's really what it is. And honestly, even for me, it's like you never know with that one sacrifice how that could really bless you.
Right.
Like even for me, it was I was working at a car dealership at the time. Meeting started at 6:30, and honestly, I wasn't supposed to get off work until like 7:30. But I told like my managers, I need to leave because I have this group to go to. So they actually allowed that. Not only was I missing out on opportunities, to kind of gain my money, but it's like even like with that, like I lost opportunities to gain my money, but I got a whole lot closer to God just than what I was previously. And that's really like the goal of everything is because the closer you get, I mean, the closer you get to God, you can't like not be blessed by it.
Right. That's
Like that
true.
could be just by Him, that could be by spiritual things, physical things, material things, like all the above.
Right.
So it's like I really I look back and I'm appreciative now and I'm gracious, of the sacrifice that I did make.
Right.
But it's like not everybody is really kind of looking like down the road at that just because they see, well, oh, I don't feel like driving down here today.
Right.
But you go to other places just on a whim. Like,
Right.
say, for instance, if it's like a party or something like that you want to go to, you can make the sacrifice to do that.
And to me, like I've been living in Georgia for a long time. So like for me to drive like an hour or 30 minutes to an hour,
That's
like it's
normal.
nothing.
It's
It's normal
normal.
because I've
Yeah.
been here all my time, like pretty much all my life.
If you
So
live
I'm
anywhere
used
in
to
Atlanta,
it.
it's gonna be 30 minutes somewhere. You
Right.
drive at least 30 minutes.
Exactly. It's not like New York where you're gonna be like, like every street corner has a store or something. Like
Hmm.
no, like we have to drive to get to anything. But you're absolutely right when you said, like basically whatever you're trying to get out of a small group, that's what you're gonna get because the effort that you put into it is what you're gonna get back. Now, if the people who are in the group are really not putting any effort into anything,
Hmm.
and they don't really expect anything, that's what they're gonna get. So, but if you really want to, develop your relationship with God and with other believers, then and everybody wants that, or most of the people in the group want that, then you're gonna get that. Most definitely.
Cause I mean, like I understand, like some circumstances, if you live a couple hours away, that's understandable. But if you live like within the city limits, especially like in Atlanta, it's going to be a drive anywhere. It's probably going to be traffic. Like it's just twice a month. Even then,
Yeah.
it's only for what 10 months,
Yeah.
if that. And then even then, it's like we even made like exceptions. Like we kind of met like at different places
Right.
sometimes.
So
So it's
sometimes
like
we meet at restaurants or sometimes we meet at like a fun little, I think we met at the bowling alley one time.
we
Like
did a couple different
we
things.
we yeah we did at the
So
Braves
it's not
Stadium. I mean the Braves, the
the
new
battery.
the Battery.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So it
Yeah.
is even then. It's not like it was very very hard set players. Like you have to come to my house. Like we we it
We
was
tried
it
to accommodate everybody the best
exactly.
way we
But
could.
that's honestly that's what a good
Yeah.
leader's going to do.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like if you
true.
said that you can't make it here, like we're gonna try to work around that as best
Right.
as we can.
Exactly.
But
Because we
at the
want our
same
group to
time,
be happy. Yeah.
or what's crazy? The whole thing is nobody ever kind of offered to kind of meet their house either. Like if you really want to be that way, it's like, well, can we meet like at your house then? If it's such an inconvenience.
They ain't gonna do that.
Exactly.
They're not gonna do
So it's like it's different elements like with each small group. It's gonna be sacrifice. It's gonna be trust. You need comfort. Just
that.
a whole
Right.
bunch of different things.
Yeah. But and I've learned my lessons like throughout small group. You just see, like Zahn said, it's like some people who have ulterior motives. They want to be in a relationship. They're trying to get booed up. And but gratefully, like the person uh, who I call myself talking to, um, it didn't tear our group apart. So so by the grace of God, we all got through it. But yeah, you live and you learn, and yeah. So
That's good because you know what? I had no clue that was even happening. I had like no clue at all.
that's good. That's really good.
But then at the same time, it's like I even kind of going into the small group. I'm like, I know it's gonna be some ulterior motives.
Yeah.
I already knew that, but because that first meeting was like, wow, this is really how people are.
I'm trying to remember what meeting that was.
Um,
You talking about the very
the
like?
very first meeting, because it wasn't at your house; it was at
Yeah,
yeah
yeah,
the other co-leader's house,
yeah,
and that was interesting.
yeah. We started out with like a whole bunch of people in that meeting,
It
that
was
very
like
first meeting,
15 people.
and then like it was like maybe half, maybe less than half of that amount of people. So it's
Yeah, I
interesting
guess in
because
between the first meeting and the second meeting, it's like Jesus, they got arrested. Like we want to follow you no more.
I mean, especially when you have like a whole lot of young people join your group. And I'm not trying to hate on the young people. I'm not, because I'm one of y'all. I'm still trying to be one of y'all. I'm 34 years old. But like, you just start to see people just fall away, fall away. But um, like I said, it's all what you put into it is what you're gonna get. So yeah. Um, do you feel like anybody's lives have been changed since they joined groups?
Well, I can say mine. I can say that like wholeheartedly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Honestly, it's been I can't really think of anything. Well, I mean, of course, like besides you too, but it's kind of hard to think of other people just because not everyone else has been like consistent.
Right.
So
But you do like I like the feedback that I get in my group, like that I've gotten recently, like makes me feel good because people actually say like,
yeah, our group now is
we
a
have a
whole
really,
lot better.
really good group this year.
Yes,
Like I'm so grateful.
it's hard to
So
get the men involved.
it really
Um,
is. Y'all, dudes, like why don't y'all come to church? Y'all don't come to small groups. Y'all don't do nothing. Well, I'm not gonna say everybody, but it's very hard to get men involved in. But we've had guys join the group. Like so I think the last year we had it was you and another
we
guy.
had
And then
last
the
year. We
year
last year we had three.
three guys.
It was one who started, who didn't. I think he just went. He was at the first meeting, and then he was just never heard from him again. No, no, not last year. Last year was 2020. I'm thinking 2019. Last year was, I think it was me.
Well, you had somebody that you had brought into the group, but then he had other
Yeah, okay, yeah.
yeah. And then we had another
That
guy.
was more of a schedule conflict.
The other
Yeah.
guy, he was just we ain't even gonna go there. But we have had like this group this
No, he
year.
wasn't in the group last year.
I don't know, but well,
That
my
was okay.
my
So
point
yeah,
is,
I understand. So that you're talking about the schedule conflict was definitely last year. The
hmm
year before that, we had three guys in the group. It was me. There was another guy who went to the first meeting. He didn't. He ghosted us. Um, and
I
then
only remember two. Isn't that sad?
and yeah, because he was just at that. Because like I still like see him like at church like every now and then.
hmm
So no, he had. I mean, it was kind of. I understood like his reason why not coming in. He just had like a
Yeah,
newborn. So
yeah.
that was the reason why. And the other one, it was just he just needs some prayer. He needs some prayers and guidance.
Yeah, but like our group this year, I'm like very grateful for my group members. Like I love each and every one of y'all, and y'all have blessed my life. Sorry, y'all have blessed my life, and it's just good to be in a group that everybody can kind of be like themselves and like really talk about something real and not feel judged and not feel like you're wasting your time.
I think that's really like where the trust comes in, just because if you tell things to the world, you can quickly be judged. Like you say something, honestly, it's like it's like it's cancel culture now. Like something happens, and then automatically you just kind of really disqualify from life. And that's how the world would treat you. But then if you get into a small group and you share those same things and people don't judge you, that's really like where the blessing comes in.
Yeah. And then you never know how like the small groups can help you form, better connections within your church organization, and how you serving in that capacity can actually build a desire for you to move up and do other things. Like Zion, he is now a full blown minister, y'all. Like, okay, like so, yeah.
Even that is so. It was really crazy because I know in 2015 I wrote a list of goals. And at the top of that list was get closer to God, and you just never know if you do that, like how close you can really get. Because even now, I think the first year that Word of Faith had small groups, I was hesitant, I was procrastinating, and I missed like the deadline to kind of join a small group. Then the year after that, I said, you know what, I'm not going to miss this opportunity again, but still procrastinating a little bit. And honestly, I didn't get the group that I wanted to be in, but I got the group that I needed to be in.
What group was you trying to be in?
It was. I think they were like already full. It was like which one was it? Because the first group I had, I think it was like a millennial group. I think it was just like a plain millennials group. Then what was it? I forgot what the name of the group was.
Ours was.
Was it?
I think it was Millennial Entrepreneurs.
Okay,
group.
so that was one of them too. I just heard good things about the millennial group. So I know that happened, and then and the group that I was in was millennial entrepreneurs too. So I mean,
it worked out.
It all
like
worked
you
out.
said, you were you supposed to be. So yeah.
So now it's like now you can't keep me from talking about God. And I don't want to. At times, I really didn't want to seem like this real churchy person, but it's like this is how God has really affected my life. Even then, it's like I try to do a whole lot better in life now, just because it really seems like now conviction just comes on so strong. It's almost like a wave that hits you, so it's like I don't want to keep getting beat up by the same waves. So you are more reluctant to change and everything, especially when you hear God tell you something. You could just be like, was that really God? But then you really hear from another person too, like, oh, that was definitely God.
All right. You get that confirmation.
Yeah.
There's
That's
so many
thing
benefits.
About small groups. Yeah.
So many benefits to being in a small group. Like, just having God speak through each and every one of the members, and they're speaking from their own experience, but God is really speaking. And it's such a rewarding thing to be a part of. It's on you. You leading this whole. You leading this whole thing.
I was trying to think. I mean, we really covered a lot.
Do you feel like you'll be a part of a small group for like the rest of your life?
Oh
or do you
yeah,
feel
definitely. I mean, it's biblical, so we have to do it. Like people aren't supposed to be in small groups. Like this is really we think of church as like this large body, but church is really small groups. If you think about like before there even was a church, there was a small group. When a church started, they gathered as a small group. When churches were started, it started as a small group. They met in homes, and then it just kind of grew and progressed into a church.
So it's kind of cool, we getting that old school, small group thing right now, like in our times, you know what I mean? So when you think about the fact that this is how the church started, like, and this is what we're doing now, it's just amazing.
Because even for me, like I would even say, and it's just my own opinion, you don't really join the church until you join a small group. Just because like when you're joining like a church, it's like that process of discipleship still hasn't been done. Like you've given your life to Christ, you're a believer now.
Yeah.
But to be fully integrated into a church, you need to be in a small group. Yeah. Especially if you're going to be like a large, like if you're going to like a relatively small church, that's really like your small group. If you're joining a large church, you need to still
Yes.
have that intimacy of a
I
small
think
group.
I think small groups in large churches and
Hmm.
mega churches and stuff like that are very imperative because people can feel invisible. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like people can feel like they're not even known in their own church. You know what I mean? And that's where, people should know your name. You know what I mean? We should know each other. Like Mary, like she was watching this episode and I just, she's one of the people I recognize. You know what I mean? We sit in the same section
Hmm.
at church, and she's just so sweet and so beautiful, and she always fly. So, like, that's my type of girl. So, but we should know each other at church, and I feel like small groups is a definite way of doing that. It's very imperative. Shout out to Pastor Whiteley, who is
Yes.
our um, discipleship groups slash, we be having so many titles for these groups. So what is it now?
Life groups.
Life group. He's a minister over it, along with
He's a pastor
pastor.
over it.
He's a pastor
Yeah.
over, um, along with Pastor.
It's Christy and Kirsty. That's it. Ain't having a part
One
of
of the
it.
twins.
Yes.
So big up to all of them, and especially Pastor Wiley because he is such a sweet guy, such a very amazing person, has a really, really good heart. And so I just want to shout.
You know what's interesting? Like he was like on my mind like maybe like 2 weeks ago. And I was like, I haven't spoken to Pastor Wiley like in a while. I know I'm not a group lead anymore, but
Yeah.
dang, it sure would be nice to kind of hear from him. But I was
Yeah.
gonna reach out to him. I just
Mhm.
never got around to do it. So last week he actually sent me an email saying, hey, just checking in with you. I hear
Yeah.
you're pretty good. I said, well, look at God.
He does
Yeah.
reach out, and that's one thing I can say about him. He really genuinely cares. Like, he knows all of the people that are part of his ministry, and he keeps in touch with us even when we don't even talk or reach out to him. Like, he's always thinking about us, and I'm grateful for his ministry. I'm grateful for him being the pastor over discipleship groups, and I'm grateful that he gave me a chance to be a small group leader. So
Same here.
yeah.
Because that even like with the leadership program that I was in, he wrote my recommendations. Like at the time, I think I've only like really known him maybe a couple months.
Mm-hmm.
So got to go to his office, did interview and everything like that, and yeah, the rest is history.
Yeah. And he gives a really good example of how to lead a small group because we have our all leaders meetings and stuff. And I just remember when we were getting together at church for those meetings, how people have their attitudes and everybody's got their own like way of being. But he's so like sweet that he kind of doesn't pay it no. You know what I mean? Like if somebody says something or whatever, he doesn't like let anything really get up under his skin. He's a people person. He's like really trying to serve, and
He knows how to handle conflict.
he knows how to handle it. Yeah, he knows how to handle conflict. So that's a good example of a good small group leader. Yeah, or any leader, honestly.
I was trying to think of something else to kind of add.
Did I say it all?
No, you did. No, it was. I'm really, really trying to think of like just one more question, but it's not popping up.
Yeah, well, we got to bring up TikTok because you know what I mean? Like, we talk about TikTok and you know what? TikTok should be paying us because of how many times that we have brought up TikTok in this, on this podcast. But yeah, I guess I should have brought this up during our hot topics. Like, TikTok is changing. It's not the same anymore. It's getting a little serious. And I think, like, that's the whole thing, like, with TikTok. Like, we wanted to get away from, like, the seriousness of COVID and all of these things. And, TikTok was kind of an outlet for us to laugh and, like, joke and be stupid. But now, like, we can't even be stupid no more because TikTok done changed.
It's all ads now, and
It is ads.
It's like I looked at it before. It's like just a way for people to kind of show like their personality,
Right.
especially like when people like using like other people's sounds and everything. But now it's almost like an app for e-commerce and all this other stuff.
But
I saw this one guy like he literally said that he calls himself an actor, and he would steal other people's content and everything. And it's like
there's a
it
lot of that going on.
it just gets into the that whole I guess concept of performing for other people,
Mm-hmm.
where it's just like some stuff is just so ingenuine now, and it's like it's just not fun.
Yeah, it's not the same. But one thing that I have noticed about TikTok is that there are people who are actually like, I feel like a lot of the people on TikTok would, benefit from a small group because there's a lot of people on there that do like divulge like some things that
Mm-hmm.
are like personal, and I wouldn't necessarily, want to put my stuff out on TikTok, but it's almost like they're looking for that community
They're
to
looking for
come
life
in.
rap. Yeah.
They're looking for that community, and it's like, yo, like, do you not know, like, if you would join a small group, like, you would have that community that you're looking for, because there's people that put their business out there, and you go through the comments and people are like, like really just pouring out love to them. Now that I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm just saying, like,
Mm-hmm.
like those are the people that I would identify that would need like to be a part of a small group.
Because I mean, it's when I see people like that, it's almost like to me they're saying like I'm drowning. I'm looking for someone to save me.
And I
It
can't
could
tell
be
you how
anybody at
many
this point.
times, like, I've seen people on TikTok crying, and I'm
Yeah,
like, really? Why are we on here crying
I
though?
see so many different things like on TikTok, um, especially like with church culture too. It's cool because you get to see just like a wide range of people,
Mm-hmm.
and if at this point, how many times people um, how many times people call people like false prophets and everything like that, and I might as well be in the same group just because it's like people. I guess I just don't get it. How people try to pick apart things and try to dismantle people,
Mm-hmm.
and it's
Yes,
not.
definitely. You can, on any platform, like, you can get the hate mail for sure. I mean, you're always going to have those people in the audience that are like trying to be mean to you just for no reason. But
It's just bad just because how many other people can really just be influenced by your mindset.
mm-hmm.
And next thing you know, this is, I think, honestly, this is really how different denominations like really started.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you have certain people who just believe, but they believe a certain way.
Right.
And even like through my um, learning through just like formal training and just reading the Bible on my own, there's so
Mm-hmm.
much freedom to accomplish like what God wants, like in His will. But yet, it's like it's always people who try to put different barriers like on things.
Mm-hmm.
Like and people, I guess, who just don't like people don't understand other people's gifts.
Right. And they don't want to understand. And
Yeah.
so a lot of times that's another reason why people get turned off from the church too, is
Hmm.
because it's like, okay, if I am fresh in this thing and I'm not used to wearing stockings and
Hmm.
a fascinator on my head and like pearls,
Hmm.
like, you're gonna look at me and you don't accept me for wearing jeans and like a regular shirt to church, like that would turn somebody off, but you don't know what gifts that person has. Like, that person can be like such a blessing to that body of believers, and based on how they look on the outside, you judge them, or you don't want to accept them or listen to the ideas that they have, just because they haven't grown up or lived their whole life inside of the church. So
And to me, like that's so cool too, just because this is exactly like what Jesus did. Like if you look at like the whole Gospel of Matthew and who wrote that, the man who wrote that was Matthew or Levi, who they call like the tax collector.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, being a tax collector, in his day and age, it was pretty much being a traitor. Like you're taking money from our people just to give to another government, and you're taking a little bit of it, yourself to live. So why should we associate like with you like at all?
Yeah.
But that's how people saw him. But Jesus really saw like the gift in him.
Mm-hmm.
Like this man is good. He's good at accounting. He remembers everything what people have said. So I know I can use this person to kind of write down, you know, the story of what is going to be the gospel. And that was really the gift that he had in him.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't tend to see that like in other people today. Like even like with I guess like when you think about like people who they call to be like false prophets and everything. It's just pretty much that they don't agree like with the doctrine that they're teaching and everything like that, or the way that they go about doing it. So one person may be a teacher, another person may be an encourager, another person may speak prophetically. It's all still the same gospel, just preaching in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say this: a mature Christian is able to kind of tell the difference between all those different things.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that what they're saying is bad. It's just how they want to help someone else, like reach maturity, like in the gospel. It's just different in how you would choose to. Like some people, fire and brimstone people. You don't do this, you're going to hell. That hasn't worked for the church at any point in time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even biblical.
Right. You can't tell somebody that they. Now you can look at somebody and the way they live their lifestyle and be like, "Ooh, they headed for destruction."
Mm-hmm.
But you don't tell them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you may tell them like, "Hey, like you might want to pull back from that," but you don't sit there and tell them that, "Hey, you're gonna go to hell," because you don't know. You're not God.
Well,
First
that's
of
a
all.
nobody
So,
on
like,
this
you
earth
can't.
right now has a heaven or hell to put anybody.
Right. But you can look at some people and be
You
like,
can say, yeah, you probably need to change your ways.
"Oh, no."
But even then, once you notice that, you really have to trust in God to give you the right words to say.
Exactly.
If you're going to approach that person.
Exactly.
Don't say, hey, well, how you living ain't right. And if you die right now, you're going to hell. Like, that's just not the way to kind of talk to people.
Yeah, especially if you don't know them. But anyways, I think that's all. I think that's all we have.
What were I know you said you had some questions.
Well, I had a question, but it might be a topic for another episode. The question was, what is godly rejection and does it hurt?
You know what? I can actually respond to it and say it.
Okay, you can answer it.
So me, it's some of my friends from the leadership training program that I was in. We've been looking at the book of Jeremiah, and it's interesting just because like the first, really almost like the whole book is all about God's rejection, but still His plan for redemption too. So God's rejection is really just a rejection of how you choose to live. Like, and it's really just again, like God cares about the heart. So it's really out of the heart you're doing all these things that not of Him. You're in pretty much like idol worship. That's the best way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
And God's going to reject it every single time.
Yeah.
Just because He's the only person who wants to be worshipped.
But what does godly rejection look like in the church?
In the church?
In the body of Christ. Not necessarily, can't cut God out of it.
Yes.
But when we think in terms of the Holy Spirit, we're thinking about a man of God, a woman of God, and they have rejected an individual in a certain type of way. Like, what are your thoughts?
I guess I'm trying to figure out, like, what would you consider being an example?
So, say, like, you're interested in somebody, right? And they're, you know that they're a woman of God.
Okay, that kind of rejection.
That kind of rejection. Now, the person has interest in you,
Hmm.
you have interest in the person, but God has told one of y'all,
Hmm.
don't touch that, can't touch this, you know, leave it alone. And then that person either tells you directly
Hmm.
that it's a no-go, or the person just never makes that move.
I think you just explained it.
What are your thoughts about that?
I
Do y'all
mean,
have any like
honestly, it's really simple as put. That's really just what it is. It's like one,
how do you handle that though?
I
What
guess,
is a healthy way to handle that?
be honest. I mean, yeah, honestly, even if you feel like God has told you that, and you're the person who's doing the rejecting, then be honest. Or if you're just not really interested in that person like that, then just be honest. But I feel like you have to kind of know like that person is interested in you, or have like suspicion, because otherwise you don't want to put your foot in your mouth and be like, well, I wasn't really interested in you like that. So I think honestly that's probably like the hard part. Like you're trying to navigate it, and you don't want to assume anything. Um, but yeah, I mean honestly, I feel like honestly at this point is the best policy.
Yeah.
Even as it may be harsh, it's just to be honest. It's like I'm just not interested in you in that way.
It reminds me a lot of like God when he was telling, I think it was Jesse, to go pick
Yeah,
one of uh to get David's, basically to go find the next king of Israel.
yeah.
And he had all his sons lined up, you know what I mean, and they was all handsome and you know all of that. And then God was like, nope,
I want
nope,
short teenage David.
nope.
That's what he
Exactly.
said.
He rejected all of them.
Hmm.
And then it just kind of makes me think like, yo, like the type of people that we look at, the type of people that we entertain as a possible relationship partner, possible spouse, like the outside really can affect our choosing. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Like I feel like we put too much focus on the outside appearance instead
Hmm.
of the inside. Okay. So recently, I would say like there was a person that I thought about, you know, possibly like talking to,
And where the
but
faith?
no, not
Okay.
at Word of Faith. But like I wasn't attracted to the inside.
Hmm.
Like the outside was good, but it was like the inside was a complete opposite of who I am. Like I felt like the person was just not my type. Like the outside may have been my type, but the inside just wasn't my type.
That's all you need to know right there.
Yeah, yeah, but your flesh gets in the way and it'd be like, but hold on, he is cute. You don't do that. And it's just like, but that person also, I could tell that they were feeling me too. And it was the same thing, but it was like the person didn't, they didn't make a move because I know, like, I feel like the person already knew that it was a no go. You know what I mean?
This is so interesting to me, just because it seems like if y'all haven't noticed, we're getting like a little feedback from the live, and it seems like since we're talking about like relationships now, I can it seems like you kind of your voice is just
It's just elevated.
yeah, it's
It's
elevated
echoing
now.
all over the place now, huh? Yeah.
But yeah, I mean honestly, so for me, like I can't be a victim of letting like looks get me in trouble, just because looks can really lie to you all the time.
Yeah.
So it's like I need to know like the nature of your heart, And to me, honestly, that for me, that's going to determine if I'm really interested in you or not.
Yeah.
Because if it's one thing, like I work in the mall, you see, honestly, you see beautiful people like all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But then, especially if I'm working with them like one on one, as soon as they start talking, I'm like, oh no, it's a definite pass. It's a definite pass. But I mean, that's like really what it is. Just because I know like how they're speaking is real, and it's biblical too. It's like this is like the nature of their heart.
Yeah. But I don't know. I just thought I'd ask that question. Like, I mean, have you seen that happen? Like, you're more in the church than I am, so like, have you seen that happen with other people that that you're cool with, like
Mhm.
that they are allowing God to really speak to them and say no or yes or you know what I mean?
I don't know. It's almost because like really, since I've become more and more involved in church, I haven't really known too many people to actually get in relationships. So it's really, honestly, more the opposite. It's probably been more like rejection, like on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I can only think of maybe one person in the
Mm-hmm.
last 3, 4 years, just personally who I know well, two people who I like personally know who actually got into a relationship, but that's about it. So pretty much it's a whole bunch of rejection going on.
Yeah,
But I
which is
feel
surprising.
I'm not really surprised because I feel like relationship is still like a fleshly thing, just because we determine so much it's like on looks all the time. But
So you feel like people are rejecting more so because of the way a person
of
looks?
course,
Okay, I
yeah.
thought you were saying that you felt like people were rejecting other people because of
No, I'm saying
the
it's really
spiritual.
both. It's really both. I'm just saying like initial rejection is based on looks. Like I don't. Pretty much like what I'm saying is I don't think the other person finds the other person attractive.
Gotcha.
And then
Now, have you known two attractive people that have rejected each other?
no, you may be the first person.
Hmm.
No, I mean to me, if that's the case, two people who are attracted to each other, then it's definitely like a spiritual thing.
Yeah.
But if not, it's like because people have like their set standards, some crazier than others. But I really don't think like relationships are really all that hard. But it's like we have like set standards of who we really want to be with, and how they have to look a certain type of way. But again, I don't think people really look down the road. Like this person may not look this way for the rest of their life. Like so,
Or they could.
that's some people. That's like extremely rare though. That's like extreme. To me, that's like extremely
I think
rare.
we're thinking on two. I think you're thinking something and I'm thinking the other thing.
What,
But yeah, like you're
what are you thinking?
saying,
What am I thinking?
when you said this person may not look like this for the rest of their life, I'm
Hmm.
thinking, okay, they may not be, you know, skinny and whatever. Maybe they could put some weight on and they
Yes,
can
that's
get
exactly what I'm saying.
muscular build.
Hmm.
But then when you said, I don't know, I felt like you were talking about the person's gonna get older and they're gonna start looking like they're
It's
changing.
all the above.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what happens.
True, true, true. Well, it would be nice if, we had um, other people like chime in, but we don't. We don't have that much. We don't have that big of an audience right now. But yeah, I never really hear people talk about that, especially in the church. It's like, hearing from God on
Well, you
who
know what I
the
think what's
person
happening?
is.
I think like relationships are happening outside of the church, and then that relationship then is brought to church.
Okay, that could be it.
Because I know a couple of people that's really like what happened.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really heard so many people actually meeting people in church. I don't know what it is.
That were both attracted to each other, but actually allow God to be the one to say yes or no.
Yes, it's almost like you gotta let God be the glue, but some people don't want to be glued. I'm trying to be fake deep, but
No, I get what you're
yeah.
saying, and it's very true. Some people don't want to be in a committed relationship, and so yeah. So if somebody tell you they don't want to be in a relationship or a commitment, listen to them because they're not gonna change their mind. They're not gonna change their mind.
So I guess like what? Okay, so I know we talked about rejection. Then what is acceptance then?
Godly acceptance.
Yeah.
That's just like, okay, well, I prayed and the Lord told me that it's okay, and yeah. So now we're engaged. That's
So I
that.
mean, like, okay, so one, okay, so I guess this may be weird. I think this is love. I
We're
don't want
about
to
to
say,
wrap up, y'all. We're
yeah.
about to wrap up.
I don't think it's odd, but one of my friends had said that she doesn't believe like to be like boyfriend and girlfriends because it's not like biblical, whatever. And I see that, but then
Courting. Okay.
yes, that's exactly what she said. But like, at what point do you say like, well, I'm, I guess, committed to being in a relationship? Potentially to, I guess, to be married. Then not that marriage is a goal, but like just saying like I only want to be with you
Listen, if you my boyfriend,
then.
we're in committed relationship. Point blank. Period. That's how I feel. Like I feel like if I give, like, okay, so if I go out on a date with you probably about 3 times, then I'm like, I'm not wasting my time. I'm so serious. Like, I'm not wasting my time after that. Like, you have to let me know. So that's what I say. Like, I'm not wasting my time.
Well, let me ask you another question then.
Because if I go on a date with you, that means that I know enough about you. Like, it's not like you're a stranger to me. Now, you still might have some stranger because I don't really fully know you, but like, I know enough about you to feel comfortable enough to go on a date. But if we keep going on dates, like, I'm not gonna just keep on going on dates with you. Like, so at some point, I feel like, I don't know. Maybe I'm a different type of species of female, but I just don't do that whole, like, I have a feeling that when I do meet the guy that I'm supposed to be with, it's not going to be a slow process.
Let me ask you a question then. Would you ever take a guy out on a date?
Take a guy out on a date? After we're married?
Not anytime before?
Mm-mm. Like, we can agree to go on a date, but like, I'm not going to be like, hey, so let me take you out to so and so. That's not my position. I might say like, hey, like, have you ever been over here? Or, like, maybe we should go here. Like, next time.
So it's a date, but you don't want to call it a date.
I'm not gonna call it me taking them out. I'll just say like I'll suggest a place. Or
that's
like,
a date.
It's a date, but I'm not taking them out on a date. They're taking me out on a date.
So what do you consider me taking you out on a date?
Them inviting me somewhere.
So that's a date.
Yeah. I agree with what you're saying.
You just said the same exact thing.
But I'm a woman, so I'm not taking the man out on a date. The man is taking me out on a date.
So even if you suggest a place, it's still him taking you out on a date.
Yes.
Okay.
Because he's the leader. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's the man, so why would...
To a degree. I mean, no. Okay, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I guess it's like I'm thinking, even if it's just like one time, would you ever consider taking a guy on a date?
I mean, I don't see the difference. Like, I kind of...
Because I say, like, when I was in a relationship, like, it didn't happen very often, but my girlfriend at the time did take me out on a date.
Okay.
Not you, though.
No, if we go on a date, that means you taking me out on a date.
Even if you suggest a place.
Now, if we married and I said, I got a surprise for you, we're gonna go here. I'm taking you out on a date. But that's after we married.
Okay.
That's just me. Am I out here by myself?
Not before. Not even engaged, nothing.
No. Because to me, okay, this is how I feel. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm the woman, so like you're. I feel like in nature, like the men, you know how peacocks have their feathers?
So pretty much you're saying we all have a role to play,
We have a role to play.
and that's the role.
And if you ask me out on a date, or if I say, hey, let's go here, you're still the one that's taking me out on a date. I'm not saying that, like, oh, the man has to pay for everything every time. Now, hopefully, you don't have a problem with that because I figure if we're going on a date, you should be able to afford it.
Or would you ever pay?
Yeah, I would pay.
I'm not,
but I wouldn't pay the very first day. Like, I think I would pay.
I agree with that.
I think I would pay, like, because I'm the type of person, like, I feel bad. Like, if somebody's paying something for me all the time, like, I'll start to feel bad. Like, okay, this man, and you know what I mean? Like, let me pay for something. You know what I mean? But, like, as far as like the title of taking the man out on a date, I just don't. The title of it just don't sound right to me. So, yeah,
it's a new concept. I'll say that.
Yeah, that's just me. I could be the only woman out here that feels that way, but I'm not taking no man on a date. That's like me saying I'm proposing to a man.
No, that is not the same.
To me.
That is not the same.
To me.
It is not the same. If you like somebody, you want to spend some time with them, you can suggest it. I mean, like you said, you can even pay.
Like, you can take me, like, the dude can take me out on a date, but, like, I'm not taking him out on a date. He's taking me out on a date.
I'm just throwing some ideas around. Yeah. That's all, you know.
That's just how I see it. I'll have to ask my dad, you know what I mean, see what he says about it, but, yeah.
I mean, okay, so I'm saying, like as a man, like, to be honest with you, that would really surprise me. That would really say to me, oh, she's really interested in me.
A woman asking you out on a date?
It don't have to be. I'm not saying it has to be like the first date or anything like that.
But you know what?
I'm just saying, just at any time in general.
In my experience, I feel like women who approach men are usually thirsty. But there are women who approach men who are not thirsty. And the ones, I feel like men want to be the ones to, like, go after the woman. That could be my old school mentality. I don't know. But I feel like if a man really wanted to be with me, he would come to me. That's the type of man I want, actually, is the guy that is, like, bold enough to say, hey, I think, you know, I like you or whatever.
But that could be friends. It could be.
I just feel like the man, if he's interested, he'll do it.
I mean, yeah, sure. But I'm only saying this because as men, this is what we used to. Like, you're not telling us anything to do. It would be new, I guess, if that was like vice versa.
Do you know how many women is out here, like, in the DMs, like, on these dudes, like, on their Instagrams and stuff? That ain't new.
It depends.
But I don't know. I just feel like if you're interested in me, you're gonna come talk to me and you're gonna step to me directly. You know what I mean?
So we can actually take this discussion.
Yeah. We can pick it up next time.
We can go on a whole discussion about this.
Yeah. But anyways, y'all, thank y'all for listening to The Collective. Thank you for joining us on this IGTV. Who knows what we're going to talk about next time? Relationships? Okay, we can talk about relationships. And maybe we can have some people actually join our discussion.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, y'all have a good day.
Have a good one, everyone.
Thank you for listening to The Collective.